So if you're working on your mental health because you want it to be better, come on in and listen. My name is Roxy, and I'm going to share stuff with you that I've learned in therapy and conclusions that I've drawn from it. I used to think that needing a system or a routine in order to manage my mental health kind of said something about me that I didn't really like. I felt like it meant that I'm somehow broken or malfunctioning, or because my mental health isn't, quite perfect and centered, that me needing all of these things was just this big, sign of saying like, I'm not well, or I can't handle life on my own. I need a morning routine, I need an evening routine, I need to eat a certain way, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to take these medications. That's such a big part of it. All of that felt to me like this is because I can't get myself together, right? It was very difficult to adopt those things with a sense of self-confidence and self-love. When I would fail at them, I felt like, okay, well, I need this stuff because I'm struggling, and now I'm not even good at it, right? And then hyper-focusing on, let's try to do the morning routine hustle culture style and morning routine of a CEO, or let's jump into Pinterest and the that girl thing and try to live this perfectly curated life of bedtimes and wake up times and green smoothies and eating perfectly and always working out. It becomes this thing that could be helpful that you become almost averse to it because it seems like, okay, I'm such a mess that I need this giant routine or situation or toolbox to manage life. And two, you end up feeling like a failure a lot because maybe you're not succeeding at those things. None of that is a great way to look at it, to be honest with you. Like, I'm just going to say it. It's not a great way to look at it. And I wasn't able to break free from how upsetting it was until I started to look at it as a system for me to run my brain at optimal health and optimal capability. Instead of looking at it like my brain has all of these needs, okay, I looked at it like there's all this different stuff I can do to make this thing run and top performance. And part of this came from a therapist of mine who used an analogy one day that absolutely has stuck with me ever since to kind of help me with things. He said, okay, Roxy, you have a high intellect, you have a high IQ and you're intelligent. Number one. Number two, you're also fairly empathic. So you're absorbing the emotions and the feelings of other people more than the average person. So now you're dealing with that. Then you have nervous system dysregulation, PTSD, and some mental health diagnosis, and that's all making things jumbled up, right? So there's all of this going on. But he's like, let's just take the intelligence thing and kind of roll with that since it is something you feel confident in. He was like, basically you need to think about your brain like it's a Maserati, not a Honda, right? Like a brain that doesn't have all these complexities might be like a Honda. Gas, oil, you're probably good for years. You might have to get some work done on some parts of that Honda, but those things go for 100,000 miles without a lot of attention or service, okay? That's not the brain I have. I have the brain that's comprised of all those things, that list that I just mentioned. That's going to be more like a Maserati or a Ferrari. You can't just throw gas in those and an occasional oil change and expect that supercar to run the way it is built to run. If you do not give it the correct systems and not give it the correct systems, but if you do not fine tune all the systems in that supercar and you let everything lapse and you don't give it the structure that it needs and all the maintenance that it needs, it's not going to run the way a Ferrari was built to run. It's going to start to malfunction. It requires a lot of attention. It requires a really good system for maintenance and care. After he gave me that analogy, I felt like I looked at everything in a completely different way, because it's like, okay, yeah, maybe my brain is complex, right? Maybe your brain is complex. Maybe you have OCD, or maybe you have bipolar, or maybe you have PTSD, or maybe you have personality disorder. Maybe you have an eating disorder. I don't know, whatever it is that you may have that you're dealing with. Then you may have whatever circumstances you're in. And then you may have a really dysregulated nervous system from years of it trying to be functioning inside flight, fight, freeze, or fawn, right? These basic survival ways of thinking that the brain will pull you into when it's feeling dysregulated or threatened. Okay, so if all of that is going on, you're dealing with a brain that's kind of like a Ferrari. Okay, you can't just put gas in it and an occasional oil change and expect the thing to run. So now I look at what I do for my brain, my routines, my things I do every day, my medications, the tools in my toolkit, the therapy that I go to. I look at it now as this like intricate, amazing, beautiful system that I have built and am continuing to build in order to get this brain of mine to run at the highest functioning that it can. Because when it's functioning at its highest level, that's when I am happiest. I am most grounded, I am most centered, I am most peaceful, I am most clear, I am most quick, I am most efficient, I am most intelligent, but overall I'm just more happy than I am in any other way, shape, or form when it is not operating at ideal performance. I want you to give this some thought. Just ponder it. You don't even need to take this video and like run and create a system. I think mental health changes. We want to watch one video and it changes everything, right? It could just be that you watch this video and it gives you a different way to contemplate taking care of your brain. Maybe you don't even take action from the video. You just watch it. Even if you've just watched this and it's got you to start thinking a little bit differently about how to take care of your brain, that's good. I'm not saying you're going to figure out a whole entire new system for your brain after watching one video. It took me like 3 months to create the one for my brain that I'm still building and tweaking and working on. And that was in tandem with therapists who were helping me. Okay, so I do not want to lead you to believe that this is just going to work out and you're going to have systems. But what I want you to take away from the video, because it really has been a game changer for me, is that I don't feel bad about needing the system anymore. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel embarrassed. And I, more than anything, don't feel like broken disaster mess, right? Who just needs all these systems to function at the lowest level. I don't feel like that anymore. I look at the systems that I've built, incorporating all the different tools I have. I will do another video at some point about my actual system that I've built. So drop a comment if you want to see a video like that. I will talk about the system I've built. In the meantime, I want you to just start thinking about that, and I want you to hear from me that I love working on it this way. It has been a complete game changer for me, and I am figuring out more and more every day how to fine tune a very complex brain so that I can live happily and peacefully and manage it over the next several decades of my life, okay? It's an empowering thing, it's a beautiful thing, and it's something I own. You know, it's something you can own, do for yourself and own and hold close to your heart and say, I have figured out a system for this Ferrari that works, and I feel good about that and proud about that. And obviously I do, or I wouldn't make a video and put it out for the whole world to see, okay? So I hope that helps. Subscribe if you want some more help with your mental health. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. I'm a woman who has been blessed enough to do a considerable amount of therapy with some of the top therapists in the world, and I have learned a lot, and I just want to share it with you. And I especially want to share it during these times. This is March of 2026. The world for a lot of people is very scary, chaotic, dark, and uncertain. And I want to give back somehow. I want to contribute in some way. We each have gifts. We should lean into our gifts. And what I have to share right now is things to help you with your mental health. And I think mental health is so, so, so important at this time in history for us to be able to learn how to be resilient in the midst of what is going on. Subscribe if you think that's useful, and I'll see you in the next video.